Thank you very much. Your Excellency Reem Al-Hashimi, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's an enormous pleasure and an honor to be here and see such a distinguished gathering, and also to welcome those students at the back. It's also a pleasure, I think, to thank Badr Jaffer for his leadership in setting up the Pearl Initiative, and to Amir Dosal, his co-founder. Every voluntary initiative, whether it starts in a family, a small community, even the leadership of companies and countries, depends on individual effort by people. People who don't say something should be done about this, or why don't they do something about it, but who actually get up and do something about it. And I think the Jaffer family and the Pearl Initiative is an outstanding example of this. It's not something that immediately benefits the business, but it's an enormous benefit in the longer term to both business and society. Georg Kell has outlined some of the general aspects of the United Nations Global Compact. And I would like to talk very much about the individual corporate approach, what it means within a corporation to embed some of these principles into your business. I'm an enormous believer in the contribution of business to society, and I know all of you are as well. You know in your hearts the difference that we make. Business is the fountain and creation of wealth, and its dissemination through employment, through creation of work, through supply chains, and through the offering of genuine choice to consumers. Consumers have a choice of competing products, and we in business give consumers that choice, an ability to choose. But they have a choice which they can base on saying, I like this product, but not just I like this product more than that product, but I like the way in this product has been made, the conditions in which it has been made, and whether it respects the environment in that process, or that it's been delivered in a way that I feel happy with, and perhaps also by people who I feel comfortable with and who I trust. And that's an extremely important factor of choice, which Badr and Her Excellency spoke about. So if business is involved in shaping societal solutions, it should also be responsible and be seen to be responsible. So that leads to the question, what is responsible? What is a responsible business? Well, my definition of a responsible business would be one that has clear values and principles which are clearly expressed and reported on. Now, those principles may be based on universal principles, such as the 10 principles of the United Nations Global Compact. But there are many systems of principles, and those principles and values have to be shaped to your own company. And how that is done is extremely important, because they should not just be developed and announced from on high, delivered from above, but embedded in the company and with participation from people within the company, and most importantly, outside. And when in the 1990s, we faced some challenges in Shell, we went out with our principles to the world, with Shell people and people outside, and consulted all around the world, saying, what do you think of this? What should we add? What are we missing? And so on. And that brought together people from both within the company and cross-section of people from other sectors of society. As Her Excellency the Minister said, we in business cannot fix things on our own. We need to cooperate with others in society. So the minister said, governments can't fix things on their own. Civil society can't. We need to work together. And the Pearl Initiative is exactly such an initiative. But so are the local networks of the United Nations Global Compact, which bring together in each and every country big business, small business, even very small businesses, as Badr said, startup businesses, or very small single-family businesses, bring them together with civil society, with government, local and national government, to work together to address what the priorities in that particular country are. It might be environmental, it might be working conditions, it might be human rights, or it might be corruption. Whatever the priorities are to address, those local networks can address it. And in my opinion, such local networks provide an unparalleled opportunity for bringing people together and an unparalleled networking opportunity to find a solution. But then when you have those values, they have to be embedded, and that means demonstrating that you are actually doing it. Most companies have a principle, a value, which says respect for people is one of our most core values. But if in that same company, the softer values and the representation of that respect for people isn't evident, if you allow very successful business people who, in your organization, who are absolute brutes and treat their people like nothing and can reduce grown men and women more or less to tears, and you allow that to go on, you might as well throw the values in the bin, because everyone will see that you don't really mean it, and the bottom line is more important than the value. Similarly, somebody told me a story about a major bank, I think in London, where smoking in buildings is not permitted, and their most senior and successful trader always used to smoke in the front atrium, the front hall of the building. That sent a signal that if you were important enough, you could do what you liked. And again, they might just as well have thrown the whole values in the bin. In corruption, for example, we need to talk about what it cost us, because it does cost sometimes. Cost in a lost contract, where you didn't get the contract because you weren't prepared to pay something. But also the cost of incoming corruption, which many major businesses allocating contracts have to be very sensitive about. So we need examples of businesses, in business, of what the values meant and where it might have cost us something in the short term, and where we can tell what I call war stories about where the values were challenged and the values won. So, another essential part, I think, is openness. Openness in talking to others. Openness in talking to civil society and labor organizations, if they are there. And this allows you to feel what's happening in society. I always say one of the most important things for a business person, people ask me, what should business schools teach, which is not taught today? And I always say that you teach analysis, that's excellent, how to do the business, principles of this, supply chains, and so on. What you don't teach people is to listen to what other people are saying, and perhaps in particular to your critics and people who don't agree with you. People who in the first instance you may actually think are ill-informed, you may even think they are stupid. They're not stupid, they have good reasons for why they think it, and if we can dig into and talk to our critics, sit down, we very often find that we share a common objective, We just have different routes of getting there, and we can perhaps plait those routes together and find a very strong chord of solution. I'm a strong believer in this talking to the outside. In science, there's a principle that you can't tell what's going on within a system by taking measurements within that system. You need a frame of reference outside, and we in business need that. The last thing that I would like to say is that I think we need statesmanship from business leaders. And by statesmanship, I mean the ability to take off your corporate hat, the business hat, and put on your societal hat. I'm a strong believer in markets, but markets will not deliver things which are not of immediate benefit to consumers, but which may be of benefit to society as a whole. And that means we need regulatory frameworks, frameworks which don't tie the hands of the market, don't tell you exactly how to do it, but say this is the direction in which we want to work. Things like efficiency mandates for transport and appliances, building regulations, perhaps carbon pricing, regulation which sets a hurdle but leaves the market creativity to compete and work out how best to meet that hurdle. Regulation which doesn't tell us exactly what to do and stifle creativity, but gives us freedom to operate within that framework. So business people need to support, and we don't like regulation in business, and certainly on the other side of the Atlantic, if you mention regulation, you can almost feel the audience jump. It's not popular in business. But we do need regulation and sound government and sound government frameworks. So we in business should be able to put on our statesman hats and support that. It's not good enough simply in our own company to make sure that we have good working conditions, that we treat workers from other countries well, but we need to be supportive of governments putting in place frameworks which ensure that this happens and which enforce those frameworks. That's what I mean by statesmanship, and I wish all of you and the Pearl Initiative every success, and I look forward to our discussions in the rest of the day. Thank you very much.